now this is the laser. Again, the laser's absolutely melting. That laser, that's like a mini Comet Azure in the palm of your hands. Oh my god. That laser just absolutely melted. Oh, that is so much damage. 6,000. Okay. If this spell is so good now. Oh, thankfully. Oh my god, yes. This spell is actually so good. With the Fire Knight Seal double buff, I have both seals at plus 25, but like 7,000 damage, like that is night and day how much that does compared to how much it did before. What's up, guys? It's SYROBE with the newest Elden Ring patch 1.13 that is now live. A lot of things have changed, but these are the most notable changes that I found with the help of my friend Churchguard. Starting off with the most obvious, the incantation Furious Blades of Ansbach is finally fixed. I had to make sure to set you guys up with the good news before I get into the bad news, because the Thorns spell has been gutted, but for now, I know a lot of people, including myself, were very interested in the Ansbach incantation and found that it did not provide any bleed buildup at all. Previously, not a single point of bleed buildup was possible, but now with around 70 arcane and the Dragon Communion Seal, we are looking at roughly 150 to 200 bleed buildup on average. I wish it was a little bit more because it's still technically less than the Impenetrable Thorns spell, but it's nice to see that this spell actually finally works. And maybe this is just me, but it seems as if the tracking is now a little bit better on the Furious Blades of Ansbach. Previously, it looks like the tracking of the spell wasn't too accurate. Now it looks like you have a better turn radius and you can stick to your target more when you use it and not shoot past them. Maybe I'm just seeing that, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. This one hopefully is going to be a very good change. A lot of people love this weapon, the Euporia, but I've always said, like, anytime anyone asks me what I think of this weapon, that this weapon sucks. And the reason I've said that is because it takes forever for it to get fully stacked. If you didn't know, this weapon has like a hidden passive where when you hit an enemy enough times, the Ash of War changes to fire like a laser beam. When you can get it off, it's pretty decent, but it's the fact that it took like 20 hits before. And let's see exactly how many hits less or how many hits it takes now to actually activate. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it? 10? Is it 10? Oh, it's 10. Oh, thankfully, it's 10 now. That's amazing. So before it was like way more than 10. I think it was like near 20, at least from when I tested it. It was like almost 20. Now it's only like 10 hits. That is way better, infinitely better than it was before. This weapon is just, wow. I'm at a loss for words, because now this weapon actually does insane, viable damage. Again, I know it's a holy weapon, and I always hate on holy weapons, so you know if I'm praising a holy weapon for once in my life that this is a great change. And yes, I know my hitbox is turned off, but I'm merely just testing it because before it took like 20 hits, now it takes like 10. I just wanted to test that out, make sure it was strong enough. Let's test it on Rolana here. Again, we're going to show you guys how many hits it takes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that it? I think that's it. Does really good damage, but I just wanted to see that. Now this is the laser. Again, the laser's absolutely melting. That laser, that's like a mini Comet Azure in the palm of your hands. Oh my god. That laser just absolutely melted. I debuted the Thorns build on my channel multiple times, and the last patch Elden Ring put out completely missed this spell. But it looks like, unfortunately, the newest patch finally nerfed it, and I've confirmed that it has been nerfed by a lot. As you can see on your screen, this is what the damage looks like previously. This thing was a monster. From release until now, with more than 600 bleed buildup per cast, around 40 stance damage per cast, which is also as much as a colossal weapon if you didn't know, and not to mention its extremely high base damage. Well, now on the current patch that just got pushed out, for the Impenetrable Thorns, everything seems to be reduced by like 50%. The bleed buildup is now around 300, even with 70 arcane and the maternal staff, and the damage is abysmal. I'm getting 2,000 damage without a bleed proc and around 5,000 damage with a bleed proc. Obviously, the spell is more balanced now in a way that FromSoft wants it to be, but again, This is where I find the balance decisions a little bit silly when it comes to these specific changes, because as a perfect counterpoint, Carian Sovereignty, which is arguably the strongest Ash of War in the game and has been the strongest Ash of War in the game since the game released, still has its insane burst damage and also still does around 90 stance damage with no buffs. And it's safe to say that this completely survived the patch and has gone relatively untouched from what I could find. Keep in mind, I'm not advocating for buffs or nerfs at all, I'm just giving you my opinion. I think that the Carian Sovereignty is an amazing Ash of War. I think it's always been amazing, and I think everyone knows that. Same with the Impenetrable Thorns, so in my opinion, it feels a little bit weird to nerf the Impenetrable Thorns, but keep the Carian Sovereignty as it is. I mean, I guess you could make the argument that the Impenetrable Thorns is a bug, and the Rolling Sparks is a bug, but Carian Sovereignty is just working as intended with its way higher damage and way higher stance damage, and no stat requirement because it's just an Ash of War, but I digress. Very good Ash of War. I hope they don't touch it, but you know, they might eventually at this point. I'm sure they already have a lot of things that they're focusing on, but again, last patch, I assume that they weren't aware of the Thorns build, and then this patch they nerfed it, so I guess it's only a matter of time before Carian Sovereignty gets nerfed. But don't worry, because there are some very, very good upsides to this patch as well. One of the major buffs, on top of fixing Ansbach's incantation, is that there is another incantation known as the Rotten Butterflies, which has been largely improved in this newest patch. This means this spell now almost instantly applies Scarlet Rot before the butterflies even have a chance to explode. I am using Skill Engine to give myself no hitbox because unfortunately this incantation does not give you hyper armor at all, so you can be knocked out of it when you use it. But just to show you guys as a demonstration, the Inner Circle now can fully proc Scarlet Rot on Rellana in just a single cast. And it does so before the butterflies even explode. Before, in the previous patch, the Rotten Butterflies incantation was extremely underwhelming. It did less damage, less Scarlet Rot buildup, and you would have to wait until the butterflies explode most times to actually get the Scarlet Rot proc. Now it seems that the Inner Circle deals a lot more Scarlet Rot buildup compared to the previous buildup, which is an overall buff to the spell directly. Alright, now this is something that I've been very excited to see in this patch notes. The Rain of Fire, arguably the worst incantation in the game. Even Ansbach was better without the bleed buildup. This did like 100 damage, like, after like a full duration. So let me see if I can test now with the alleged buffs how much we should be doing with this spell, or how much at least we should be seeing with this spell. Oh, that is so much damage. 6,000. Okay. If this spell is so good now. Oh, thankfully. Oh my god, yes. This spell is actually so good. With the Fire Knight Seal double buff, I have both seals at plus 25, and I have the Flame Shrouding cracked here to give it as much buffs as I can. Again, not like super big setup, but like 7,000 damage. Like, that is night and day how much that does compared to how much it did before. That is beautiful. The Rain of Fire spell is actually very good now. I highly recommend using it, especially if you can get 2 Fire Knight Seals, because this does buff like the Mesmer Fire incantations, and this does, I'm pretty sure the Rain of Fire does count as a Mesmer incantation. Let's see if I can aim it down manually on myself here. Oh, he gets iframes while he grabs me. Forgot about that. Yeah, let's see if I can just like kind of aim it without getting hit. Let me see if I can turn off my hitbox real quick. We're going to turn off the hitbox just so we can really, really gauge just how much this is doing DPS-wise. It is melting him, as you can see. This spell is beautiful now, and I am here for it. Again, your mileage is going to vary based on their hitbox. I can't imagine it would do much against someone like Rellana with a very, very small hitbox, or if they move around a lot, but it's just nice to see that it actually does something now. Like, it does something. It's still not the best spell. Again, it has really bad tracking, and it has very, very, like, fluctuating range with it. Like, if I cast it now, he's not even going to get hit by it because it casted where he was and not where he currently is. So maybe I can cast it on myself. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit better. Just casting it down at the floor rather than on your target seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, super happy. Love the change of Rain of Fire. Love this spell now. Actually viable and worth using. Keep in mind, though, again, you are going to need to hit something with a larger hitbox. One big thing in this patch that I wanted to include, because most of you guys that watch me are PvE players, as that's what my channel is focused on, it seems like almost every single Spirit Summon or Spirit Ash has been increased in its stance values, which means it will not stagger as easily as it did before. If you use Spirit Ashes, you commonly see them have their stance broken, where they drop to their knees and they get a little stunned. This is a really long list. It really seems like they want to make people's spirit summons feel a little bit more valuable, especially considering that they had the new mechanic where you can upgrade them further with the Spirit Ash or the revered Spirit Ash upgrades. I forget what they're called. The Mimic Tier is one of the most important ones that everybody seems to use. So it says right here, increase the attack power and damage negation of all summon spirits, excluding the Mimic Tier, when the revered Spirit Ash blessings is at 5 or more. So the Mimic Tier got pretty much exempt from this buff. It did not get any buffs from here, from at least the Spirit Blessing buff. And then increase attack power and damage negation of summon spirits, excluding the Mimic Tier again. So it seems like they get a bigger bonus or a larger bonus from the revered Spirit Ash blessing levels. Everything except the Mimic Tier. And again, that's at level 5 and at 8 or higher. So very interesting that they chose to do that. It seems like they buffed every single Spirit Ash except the Mimic Tier. They probably saw that everyone was only using the Mimic Tier and wanted to try and diversify the meta a little bit. So appreciate that. Big shout out to the people at Elden Ring and Bandai Namco for putting this together. If you want to use any Spirit Ash now, it seems like they're going to be a little bit more viable than they were before. So after checking again really quick, this is not every single Spirit Ash in the game, but it is a significant majority of them. Again, not every single one. I said it earlier that it might be every single one. Bit of an exaggeration, but you know, with the exception of the Mimic Tier. And these are pretty much all of the major changes this patch includes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more, as I'm doing challenge runs and would like you guys to come hang out with me when I go live. I've been SYROBE, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.